Well, good morning, Center Hope. It is Friday, July the 31st. Beautiful day out here. And you have me telling you another story today. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. And I have a story I want to tell you. This story takes place in a doctor's office. So I saw the gentleman walking to the doctor's office, man in his early 80s, walked up to the desk and let me know that he had an appointment at 8:30 to have his stitches taken out. So I took down his name and I checked his vitals and had him have a seat. And as he sat there in the waiting room, I kept looking up and seeing him constantly checking his watch and then checking the clock on the wall and then checking his watch again just to see if they were right. He looked nervous. So I went over and I sat beside him and I said, "Excuse me, sir, you seem to be in a bit of a hurry. Is everything okay?" He informed me that he had an appointment at 9 o'clock that he had to be at. I said, "Okay," and went back to my desk. On my way back to my desk, I'm thinking about it and knowing full well it's going to be well over an hour before he sees the doctor, which means he's going to be well past his appointment at 9 o'clock. So I go back over and I say, "Can you please come up to my desk?" and bring him up there and I check his vitals and I take a look at his wound, and sure enough, the wound looks nice and healed up. So all he has to do is have the stitches taken out. So I asked him to hold on for 1 minute, went back and I found the doctor and I said, is it okay that I take his stitches out because it looks like it's a pretty simple procedure? He said, "Sure, go ahead." So I went and I grabbed all the stuff that I needed to go and do the procedure for him and redress his wound and get him ready to go out the door. As I'm sitting there and I'm talking to him as I'm taking the stitches out, he told me that he was in a hurry about his 9 o'clock appointment. And so I looked at him, I said, "Is this another doctor's appointment you have to get to?" At which point he said, "No, I have a 9 o'clock appointment with my wife. I'm going to go have breakfast with her. I have breakfast with her every day at 9 a.m. I thought, that's so sweet. But why is it so important that you get there? I'm sure you could be just a little bit late if you had to be." And he said, "No, I have to be there at 9 o'clock. It's always been 9 o'clock. I have to be there at 9 o'clock. It's very important." And that got thinking about it. I'm wondering, is she okay? Like, is everything all right? And he told me that he had to go and see her because she had Alzheimer's disease. And at 9 o'clock every day was the time that he's had breakfast with her for the last 30 years, and he didn't want to miss another day. I said, "Well, that's kind of terrible. I'm glad you're going to go see him. I'm very sorry about Alzheimer's, but obviously she loves you and knows you and appreciates it." And he said, "Actually, she has no idea who I am. She hasn't known me for 5 years. But I know who she is. I know our life together. I know all of our memories together. And I know that I love her with everything that I have. So she may not know who I am, but I know who she is. And it's important that I never miss this appointment because that's the time of day that we always spend together, no matter what. Before the day started, we always had breakfast together. And so I need to have my breakfast with my wife every morning." I smiled and finished up his wound and dressed it, and as he left, I have to admit I had to wipe a tear from my eye. I thought, that's real love. That's what I want. Real love isn't just something that's romantic. It's not just something that's fleeting. It's something that's not physical. It's unconditional. It's something that is always there, never breaks, doesn't give up on you, is always willing to pick you up, and will do everything and anything for you. And no matter what you do, will not ever change. What a great way to describe love, I thought. True love is an acceptance of all that is, all that has been, all that will be, and all that will not be. You know, I hear a story like that, and it does resonate with me. My dad and my mom were married for over 40 years before my dad died. And I have to tell you, he was such an amazing example to me as to how a husband should treat his wife, how a husband should look after the woman that he loves. Now, my mom will tell you that that he had him on a pedestal that was a little too high, but I can tell you this: my dad would never let anybody speak ill of my mother, would never let anyone do anything bad to my mother. He loved her with everything and anything, and the only time I ever saw my dad get really mad in my entire life was when somebody said something really bad about my mom. He loved her with everything and anything that he had. Well, that was my dad, and he was just a man. I think you might see where I'm going with this. I want to tell you about my other dad, my father, my heavenly father. And I want to give you a quote out of the Bible that is really pretty amazing. It says in Romans 5 verse 8, "But God shows his love for us, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." He loved us so much that he died for us. That's unconditional love. While we were yet sinners, he died for us. Now, just to expand a little bit on that, the whole sinners part, God can't be around sin. It's something that he just cannot have in his presence. It's something that he has to have far away from him. And yet, even though we were still sinning, and we were still doing things against him, and we were doing things that would not make him happy in any way, shape, or form, he still sent his son to die for us so that we could join him in heaven someday. Guys, that is love. That's unconditional love. That it doesn't matter what we do, what we say, how we do it, he is going to give his life for us. He did give his life for us so that we can join him someday. That too gives me goosebumps, and I gotta tell you, can bring a tear to my eye when I actually stop and think about the enormity of that. He loves me that much. And if you haven't heard it before, he actually does love you that much too. You need to understand that. I'm nothing special. That verse just said it. I'm a sinner, but he died for me. Guys, he died for you. He loves you unconditionally. That's what I wanted to bring to you guys today. If you have any questions for me, you can either come and find me in the hallway or in my office, or feel free to leave a comment down below, or even if you have a suggestion on something that you want to hear us talk on, leave that in the comment section down below. And if you haven't liked the video, give it a like. If you didn't, then don't. But I'm enjoying doing these things, and I'm enjoying having a little bit of time to talk with you. Hopefully you're enjoying them too. So until we get to meet again, God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend.